Let's start, though, with Aston Villa, where Steven Gerrard is expected to be appointed their new manager on a 2.5-year contract. We can head live now to Villa Park. Join our reporter, Rob Dorset, who's across this story. Rob, looks like Villa have their man then. What do we know as we speak right now?
Well, Ed, not quite, but very nearly. Yeah, listen, Sky Sports News expects Steven Gerrard to be confirmed as the new Aston Villa boss in the next 48 hours or so. It could happen even before that if they can organise the final legal details of that contract you were referring to there. And this is big news, isn't it? Because we're talking about two of the biggest clubs in Britain here. One of the biggest clubs north of the border, Rangers, losing their manager, and one of the biggest clubs in the Premier League, Aston Villa, gaining Steven Gerrard. Add to that the fact that he's a stellar name in his own right, the former Liverpool and England midfielder, and you've got all the ingredients for a huge story. Let's tell you exactly what we know at this stage. Steven Gerrard had dinner with the chief executive of Aston Villa, Christian Purslow, in London last night. There is broad agreement on a 2.5-year contract, I understand. Compensation of between £3 and £4 million has been agreed between Aston Villa and Rangers, I'm told. And that includes Steven Gerrard and his assistant Gary McAllister and a number of his backroom staff as well. But that's where a number of the details are still to be sorted out, both the legal details of Gerrard's contract and the issue of his backroom staff. But it's been pretty clear for the last 24 hours or so that Steven Gerrard wanted this move to happen. Aston Villa, of course, sacked Dean Smith on Sunday, and they said they would take a couple of days to assess the options. We know that Roberto Martinez was on their shortlist, as was Kasper Hjellmund, the Denmark coach, but it always felt like Gerrard was the leading candidate and the favoured man that Villa wanted to appoint. Of course, the chief executive, Christian Purslow, knows him very well from his time at Liverpool. Purslow was managing director of Liverpool from 2009 when Gerrard was at his peak, and the two men became quite close there. It's a big part to Christian Purslow that Gerrard is joining Aston Villa now, and his first challenge in English football, his first job in the Premier League. As I say, one or two legal details still to get through, but we expect Steven Gerrard to be unveiled as the new Aston Villa manager in the next 48 hours. It may even be sooner than that. OK, Rob, just to reiterate that point about the backroom staff, because you mentioned the Purslow connection, but Gary McAllister has a connection that unites Liverpool, Rangers, and of course now Aston Villa. Yeah, Gary McAllister was here before, wasn't he? And he's coming back, I can tell you that we expect that compensation package for Gerrard includes Gary McAllister, and we expect it to also, and the negotiations to continue today, about the rest of Steven Gerrard's backroom staff. We fully expect all of his backroom staff that he had at Rangers to join him here at Villa Park, and that means the rest of Dean Smith's backroom staff. Of course, we heard Craig Shakespeare left the club on Monday, but a number of other members of Dean Smith's coaching staff were still employed by the football club here in case Villa couldn't get a manager in place before their next game in the Premier League week on Saturday against Brighton. It's now clear that that's going to happen, so we expect the rest of Dean Smith's backroom staff to leave the club in due course and them to be replaced by Steven Gerrard's backroom staff. And you have to talk about the impact that will have on Rangers, because, of course, he stopped the rot for Rangers, didn't he? Avoiding Celtic winning 10 straight Scottish League titles, and in doing so, this is going to rip the heart out of Rangers coaching staff. Gerrard, the iconic manager, leaving, and all his backroom staff. Where do Rangers go from here? That's a question that they will address over the coming days and weeks, you suspect, but the first and the biggest story and the biggest issue here is Steven Gerrard himself. A huge name. He's going to be the manager of a huge football club here, Aston Villa, and we expect him to be confirmed as such with all his backroom staff in the next 48 hours.